And we are live at 5. Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome to Piranha Pond StreamCast live at 5 from Piranha Pond. I am your illustrious host, Kingfish Mac, joined today by my brother from another mother, Mr. Nine Flower. How you doing today, bro?
What it do, man? I'm feeling good. That Good Friday energy popping right now. You know what I'm saying? Good Friday energy popping right now.
I heard that. Yeah, man, I've been kind of feeling kind of this way and that way um, all day long. I've been, I don't know, man. I don't get sick, so anytime I feel a little different, that shit is amplified like times 10,000.
Right. Pay attention. But that's all in knowing yourself, man. Paying attention to what the hell you got going on.
But I'm good though, man. I'm good. As you guys can see, right now we are not joined by Nick Nash and the Mermaid Nick Mo. Nick Nash should be chiming in. Uh, he's in traffic, as I told you guys before. I'm pretty much the only one that just sits here waiting for 5 o'clock to come, and then I be late half the time. But everybody else kind of has, other things going on in their life, and they take the time out for an hour, 2 hours of evening to come and sit and chit chat with you guys and give you guys a dose of what it is that they're feeling and thinking. So anytime that somebody don't is not able to make it or whatever, it's no big problem. I mean, never have no problems or no shit like that. It's all love, and we're just waiting for our folks to come back. So Nick Mo,
Hey, life
looking
is
for you to
happening.
come back on Monday, man. And Nick
Yes,
Nash,
ma'am.
we're looking
Power
for you to
up.
chime right on in.
Yeah, man. We in a building. 421. It don't matter. We in a building.
That's right.
Piranha Pond on deck. And yeah, our people will be back soon, man. It's cool. It's cool. Hey, and I gotta say this. Although I do work, I do look for. I mean, I'll be waiting to do it, but I do look forward to jumping on this joint at 5 o'clock.
Oh my bad.
But
I had a
hey,
couple of different things going on all at the same time. There we go. Let's see if I'm trying to get the comments up. Oh, okay, there we go.
boom, commented.
All right. Well, my boy Nick Nass had the topic for today, and he had sent us a text. Kind of his text was kind of describing or kind of having the conversation. It was really just his point of view of how things should be going. But I think that in light of what's been going on all this year and throughout the pandemic, and hey ma, your mother,
Hey, mother.
and with people making a whole bunch of money in digital currencies and a variety of other different types of new currencies. I think Nas just made $100 million or something like that on a cryptocurrency venture. He was an early investor in something that kind of just blew up. Coinbase just blew up the other day. Of course, we know how Bitcoin surged. The price of Bitcoin surged from $600 to $6,000 of Bitcoin in the last year. And that price has fluctuated, but yet and still it's proven to be a pretty stable commodity, right? People are actually being able to buy things now in Bitcoin, regular shit. People are accepting it. So and then also you have what's called NFTs, right, which stands for non-fungible tokens. And basically that is you kind of create your own economy based upon, say, that piece of art that's in the back of your shop, Frank.
Mm-hmm.
If you broke that up into basically what would be the equivalent of pieces of stock, right?
Mhm.
Ownership certificates, and say you made 100 ownership certificates out of that picture. That means that 100 people would be able to own a portion of that picture if it was valued, right?
Right.
And all that ownership is traded on the blockchain, right? So
Right.
everything is transparent, it's recorded, digitally recorded from a variety of different areas, a variety of different locations all at the same time. And it pretty much guarantees the security of the transaction, right? And so, people are using the blockchain now, or blockchain technology, to create their own currencies that, will be able to, you can buy shit with. So the question of the day is, um, has our community been left behind in the big surge in the various different uh, currencies that are being made available to people nowadays? And should we continue to focus on the dollar economy as a community of people?
Well, I don't believe that we are left behind. I just believe that those who do know don't tell. You know what I'm saying? They don't educate us on the ways of, obtaining these different types of various types of currency. All we know is the dollar and the credit card and all that shit, but not all of us. You know what I mean? And I believe that it's imperative that people start putting together seminars or classes or sessions to get people, especially our people, uh, versed in it. Get a little bit of knowledge about it. So regardless whether you get into it or not, shit just ain't passing over your head. You know what I mean? So I believe it definitely has to be a talk or a thing in our communities, but I don't believe we're getting left behind because those with money invest in that type of shit. So they know. You know what I mean? So I just think it's a matter of motherfuckers not being stingy. People not being stingy. You know what I mean? Putting that knowledge back into the community, man, so we can all grow and all know. You know.
Yeah, I find it. I don't even know what the word is, right? Um, I guess I find it peculiar that we as a community of people are kind of always left to the second run of something, whenever some new something comes out, whether it's technology or some kind of economic opportunity, or it's always, we are never, like you say, either informed, or if we are informed, then we kind of afraid to step out and take the risk that comes along with those kinds of opportunities. So I think that in this scenario, if we go all the way back to Bitcoin, I was talking about Bitcoin years ago when I first found out what it was, and when I found out the efficacy of Bitcoin. Um, but again, I didn't have any money to put into it. It was just a conversation, and if I did have the money, I think that probably at that time I may have taken a risk that was substantial, or a risk that was equal to what I wouldn't notice missing, type of shit,
Right,
right?
right.
But
You just threw something on it.
even in that scenario, you still would have came up. You would have
Right, right.
made your money damn near 100 times over or something. So I think we just kind of missed it. We missed the chain. We missed the train on Bitcoin. But because you have all these other different types of things going on, these other different types of currencies and various different things, and like I said, NFTs, it allows us the opportunity. Damn, what the fuck is going on there? Oh, it allows us the opportunity to get in on something if we become educated enough.
And my whole thing, even with the education, like, I don't understand why. Why is it that type of information trickles down to us as slow as it do. I mean, I do understand why, designed for us not to come up like that. But for those who know, with the money, should automatically be throwing up centers or online tutoring systems. You know what I'm saying? Like, they should be putting this shit out there. And I'm pretty sure it is somebody, but it ain't enough somebodies. You know? Yes, Mother, that is true.
Yeah. I think that again, what it comes back down to is um, it really comes down to a lack of community. You know what I'm saying? Because those that do have the educational wherewithal or whatever, those that do know what's going on, um, they have opportunity. Well, those that have are presented with those opportunities are that are in the know are too busy trying to assimilate to those that are already in that light, right? As opposed to saying, damn, I uncovered some shit. Let me take it back to my people. You know what I'm saying? So that we can all kind of, jump on this gravy train and shit, right? And all come up, or at least be at the forefront of whatever the modern technology is. I think about something that we were talking about yesterday, and I was describing how 20 some odd years ago, Nick and I were we were working with my other cousin, Nick's uncle, and
The
we
Cyber
were
Cafe.
providing right, and we were providing internet access just the same way that you would have in West Hollywood or Santa Monica, or one of those artsy kind of spaces, right, where you can sit down and have a cup of coffee, or you can order a whatever it is that you a smoothie or whatever, and be in a cool environment and access the internet when people really didn't have internet access at their house at the time, right? So the thing that struck me at that time was with the availability, right? Because we were open, and the internet access really didn't cost much. Um, there were very few of our people who were just regular people who were trying to get in on the ground floor or something that actually came in and utilized the facilities. It was almost like, once again, those who knew that we were there was kind of keeping it to themselves, like, shit, some new shit that I can go enjoy, you know what I'm saying, and get. I don't know if it's some kind of internal status or what the hell it is that people be thinking about, but to want that, as opposed to going back and bringing that back to people in your community that could utilize the same thing and gain from it, right? All of us gain, you know what I'm saying, as a working unit. I just think that we fall down on that a lot of times on a lot of different shit.
which which is ridiculous because our ancestors did that exact thing. You know what I'm saying? Say, for instance, they found fire. Now everybody got fire. You know what I mean? When they hunt, they bring all the meat back to the tribe. You know what I'm saying? Like, niggas don't just hunt and then go to their huts and just be like, oh, y'all hungry? My bad. You know what I'm saying? Because everybody eat. We go hunt, everybody eat. You know what I'm saying? And that's how we work. That's, that's our essence. And I don't understand how we got so far away from it, even with the 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 deceit and all the evil stuff that happens in terms of money. And man, we are better people than that. You know what I'm saying? I believe we are better people than that. Like, it's just dope. That shit don't do nothing. It's the person that make it, you know. And most motherfuckers just get greedy, man. Greed is crazy. That's just crazy, bro. Because you can't do nothing with all that money. Why not give it back to the people? You can't do nothing with all that knowledge to make all that money. Why not give it to the people immediately? You know what I'm saying? Like, ooh, look what I found. You know what I mean? Should have been all over Facebook. Should have been all over Instagram. You know what I'm saying? But
I think it goes back to that whole crabs in the barrel mentality, and I think that what people kind of miss when they say that, right, when they use that analogy, I think that they just kind of want to overall say that, our people have the mentality that, um, like it's just jealousy and envy and hate and that kind of shit. And I don't really think that's what it is. I think what it is that we've been we've always had a particular lifestyle that's kind of been held up as, the epitome of, if you're doing good in this country, right? And all of those things have, mainstream values attached to them and shit, right? Things that you're gonna, not a lot of things that you can take back to your neighborhood. You know what I'm saying? When you achieve a particular level of success in pretty much any aspect of your life, you are expected to assimilate to those or to that group that kind of, operates in that space on the normal. You know what I'm saying? And so when I think that a lot of times when we're given the opportunity, what we do is we look at it as that's the only opportunity, right? There's only one space for one nigga in here, right? And that nigga's been chosen to be me, so I ain't gonna let you fuck it up for me. You feel what I'm saying? Even though you have absolutely no intentions nor no potential to fuck it up for
right.
me, right?
Right.
Probably gonna enhance my journey if I take you with me, but I think we've been conditioned not to believe that all the way back to fucking, slave days and shit, right? When you had the house nigga versus the field nigga. You
Yeah,
know what
but
I'm
that's when they broke us, though.
saying?
That's when they
That
broke
house
us.
nigga got a little. He got a little bit of. He got a little bit more than the niggas that was out in the field, and so he wasn't trying to risk that by provide no information about where Massa keep the guns at, right? He was talking about you gonna get us killed. Yes.
Very few did, though. I mean, there was a few. There was a few.
Yeah, of course, always.
But I mean, it's always a few, and that's the dilemma, nigga. Why isn't it the many? You know what I'm saying? Like, if that whole sugar and spice and everything nice analogy is real, we're not made up of that. So we're not made up of greed and selfishness. Just as a people. Mansa Musa taught us that.
Mm-hmm.
It's not what we do. We spread wealth, joy, and love amongst all the people. So I hate that they broke us like they did, bro.
Tracy, I be trying to learn, on my own too, because I ain't took no class or nothing. But everything is kind of moving so fast nowadays. It's kind of hard to keep up. The thing about it is that if you're not even in the pond, then you're not going to be doing no kind of swimming at all. You're just going to be talking about swimming. You know what I'm saying? So our thing is that we got to, we even in things that are new. Like I said, the shit with Nas, Nas had to have somebody explain that shit to him in 2013 or whenever it was that, he first invested in CoinBase. And, somebody that had to explain it to him and he had to understand it. And then he had to take it back to his people and they had to understand it and then put that bread together, you know what I'm saying? And then learn as they go.
Sure.
But we don't even jump out and, try to have these kind of things even happening, in our fucking consciousness. We more be about, trying to look out for ourselves. Shit, how well am I doing? How much better I'm doing than my neighbor?
Hey, bro. Young Nick Nass in the building.
Hey, Nick Nass.
What's cracking?
What it do?
Baby boy.
Gotta make it.
Hey,
Gotta
man,
make it, baby.
Trying to make it happen.
You know what I'm saying? So what's going on today, man? How we doing this, man? What y'all up on already, man?
We took your idea, what you was talking about earlier, and kind of flipped it a little bit, and was talking about whether or not Black folks kind of get left behind on new technology, new economic shit. We were talking about cryptocurrencies and NFTs and that type of shit, but I was gonna, take the shit into shit like government assistance programs, loan programs, small business loan guarantees. It's a variety of different things that we as a people are not just familiar with. They don't teach us this kind of shit in school. And then the people that do get up on shit, they, for the most part, don't have a very big motivation to come back and teach, that teach their own people and bring them along with them into whatever the new shit is, right? So we kind of end up,
Definitely.
picking up the fucking breadcrumbs for everything that comes out, except our own shit, and then we don't even get paid off of that, right? Our music, our culture, our food, our
Our
arts, all
essence.
the whole essence of being black, right? We give the shit away. You know what I'm saying? Hey, come on,
Period.
enjoy this.
Because
Let us
that's
teach
what
you.
we're made
You know
of.
what I'm saying? And then everybody else takes our shit and monetize it and cut us the fuck out.
Oh yeah, because and you got a good point there because I forgot the name of that book. It was like the greatest movie ever seen was the nigga. You know what I'm saying? And it's like we was directed to renting for a lifetime. We wasn't they didn't put us on the knowledge of buying the house. You know what I'm saying, to go get a loan. You were scared to actually go to the bank and ask permission to, get your land. If you homestead it, it's like they found a way to make it in the domain, so you still lose your stuff anyways. Let a freeway come through and you done bought all these acres, intimate domain. But that's the whole point, right? Getting all these loans and stuff and all these programs, like who really benefits from it? The who owns the DTO properties when you can't pay it or the loan? All deep into that. You know what I'm saying? Into that matrix on that side of the game. So it's like, but if we actually all come together like we should, just in on what I'm saying, on the cultural level in society, you know, they'll find a way to duke it out of us though. Dupe us right up on the shit. So
No,
who,
no, no, no,
who
no, 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 no.
like,
Not
but who's
once we start creating our own, we'll appreciate it more. That I can guarantee. The only way they'll dupe us is if they literally take it from us. They would
yeah,
literally have
you
to
know,
physically take it from us.
yeah,
Ain't no more
and
duping.
who
Way smarter than that
so
now.
and but I had came in on the on the subject a little late the other day, right? When you like, who's going to stand up and fight for it, though? You know what I'm saying? Because it desensitizes us for every violent act, and it just like you come right in your house and say, "Explain to me why you have this at this time." You know what I'm saying? Because they actually block off the whole block and say, "Hey, y'all are progressing. You being prosperous, and where's our tax money? Where's our thing? Who has the community bank? So who has the deeds to these houses? Who sold you this land? So that's the other part. But from example from my grandfather, so yeah, Uncle Lionel, you had Mr. Watts. These guys work for other people, but saying after dark, they went on and did their little thing on the weekends, and built from there and acquired a whole lot of stuff. So what year you think that was lost? As far as togetherness with people that had trades and stuff and actually invested their money. They actually cared. If one didn't have, the other one said, okay, I got a little, let's bridge it together and make this shit happen.
I think it probably happened right about my generation. Um, my step pops always say, he said, "Yeah, you Pepsi generation hustlers, right?" That's what he calls us. But I tell him, dude, I'm the last of the Coke generation. I don't know what the hell you're talking about, right? But I think that I think that there was an era, when you looked out for your people. You looked out for your homeboy's wife, if your homeboy went to jail or was sick in the hospital, or what I'm saying. And if you had a business idea, it wasn't something that you went and talked to some white folks about. You went to your homeboy. Y'all discussed that shit and tried to get a couple of dollars together first before you went to go talk to the white people. And it never was about me, me, me. And I think in my era, or right around my generation, it started kind of becoming about, what can I do for myself, and not so much, a lot of niggas talk that loyalty, but I come from a pretty big neighborhood, and I can count on one hand my number of friends that I could say was really real about what they was talking about. Everybody else, it was just kind of convenient, you know what I'm saying, to just fuck with us. You know what I'm saying? Or not fuck with, whatever the scenario was. But in terms of somebody saying, just to take it out of, the general professional shit, we young 16-year-old crooks. And I'm not saying, oh, okay, well, I got a lick and going to try to plot that shit by myself. I'm going to go get my homeboys, two of my homeboys, and be like, look, nigga, I seen what the whoop. And it's already known that we're going to split the dough up 3 ways, right? But I know that I got a better chance of surviving, this mission if I got help by motherfuckers that's similar situated and, motivated the same way than I do if I'm just trying to do all the work by myself so I can keep all the fucking loot for myself, right? My ass is probably going to jail, right?
Yeah.
But when you take that same mentality and you put it in, say, in business and technology and various different economic arenas and shit, right, that we find ourselves in, we a lot of times we're the only one there, and so it's like, shit, I got to dog pedal through this, and that inbred sense of doubt, right, that we always experience, but we're guilty of perpetrating it against our fellow brothers, and our black women do the same thing to us, right? Is that you come into things with this inherent feeling of distrust, right? Like you're not looking at it like, what is this motherfucker gonna come up with that I didn't see that's gonna make this shit better? You saying, what is this motherfucker gonna do that's gonna fuck my shit up?
Right.
Yeah.
Right. Always anticipating the worst.
Always anticipating the fuck shit. And that's not something that, is really inherent in our nature, as Frank says. I think that shit is something that has just kind of been, it's been bred into us over hundreds of years of, being over here and being subjugated to the bullshit.
Yeah. And that's what we like, even diving back into yesterday, Django Unchained. It's like we was already built to do this shit. That was just a representation on the when we say loyal and actually saying that, hey, we're going to take on our action and build as a unit. Be individual, but that comes at a cost because that individual is on the fall. Who's going to be up there to pick up the reins? Because as we know, just to alter, I could honestly say, we jumped off the front porch with track shoes. You know what I'm saying? We wasn't calling them a full stride off the front porch. You know what I'm saying? And they had to actually hold us back because we had, we went in with military minds. We knew we was trying to get to. And if we didn't know, we went to a library and picked up a book. Where's the book these days? You know what I'm saying? On this new stuff. Not a phone device. I'm talking about where you could carry it on your side or in your backpack with your weed and your papers and sit under a tree. And whoever walks up under that tree, or what we call the soapbox, to actually get this new age thing. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's one of the points that we could build on the building block on that. You know what I'm saying? Because I gotta admit, I'm getting goofy on all this new cryptocurrency. If I don't have the money in my hand, you know what I'm saying? It's not there. You know what I'm saying? I can't materialize books, paper. All that not be working with their sell on paper. Fort Knox is where's the gold bars at? At least I got it. Barter trade, baby. You know what I'm saying? So we barter trade this knowledge.
The funny thing is that when credit cards first came out or got big and available to the vast majority of Americans, black folks was pretty much on the same shit.
Yeah.
Didn't believe it. You know what I'm saying? Just interest rate, you charging me to use my own money. Now we look 40 years later, 50 years later, and paper money is damn near illegal. Everybody's swiping, tapping. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
You can't even sell a bag of weed nowadays. I got to send the weed man a cash app.
Yeah. That's the thing.
I'm so not bullshitting, right?
Oh, would we call that the square? You mean I could take money over my phone? You know what I'm saying? But that was the other secret that people know that wasn't aware. Like, if you got into you know what I'm saying, what we call illegal activity, if you could justify paying the taxes on the money that you got, you was all Gucci. You know what I'm saying?
See,
And not being a ghost with credit, just like you said, that was the downfall of a lot of people. You know what I'm saying? How can you obtain this? With how the money became illegal, because illegal, you know what I'm saying? Like you said right now, that currency, having paper money is pretty much illegal. Where you got it from? You been hiding under the bed, you been hiding in jars, you know what I'm saying, under front lawn, you know what I'm saying? It don't smell more than whatever did you make. Because you know they got printers that can make it, so I don't know,
right.
dude.
But here's the
You know what
thing,
I'm saying?
though.
So,
It's so ridiculous how hung up or how much one's livelihood is tied up in that word credit.
Right.
That
yeah.
is the craziest
And
thing
like I said,
in
I
the
you know,
world.
I can remember a time when, you know, cash ruled. Matter of fact, some of them old cats that we talking about, that Nick is talking about, would hurry up to tell your ass, yeah, I just bought me a brand new Cat Black Bank $13,000 cash for it. Right?
Mm-hmm. Right.
No credit,
Yeah.
Right.
ain't no
Right.
goddamn credit.
And he did the shit when he
Credit.
did it. And he
Right.
did the shit when he did it. But here's the thing about credit, though, in my personal opinion, um, it's basically just a way to move ghost money around, to make like you to put you in debt with money that they don't have. You see what I'm saying?
Mm.
Because when cash ruled, you had to have that cash. It wasn't no if, ands, or buts about it. Now that all that shit, now that it's all mucked up, they can do what they want to do now. You know what I'm saying? They can do what they want to do. Now
They
all
got
of a
the
sudden you owe them. You know what I'm saying?
yeah. You know what I'm saying?
And
Because
they
that
never
is
gave
that's
you
a,
nothing tangible to owe them for, except for the shit you could pay for in the first place. Why should I owe you more as opposed to paying for the shit? How was that even a thing for me? Like, how does that benefit me?
so and that's the thing that goes, because like even all the way down to agricultural levels, like you know what I'm saying, artisan growing, talk about fruits and vegetables, right? Because we used to have the fruit man. You know what I'm saying? The fruit man used to drive around and on the truck, and everybody had apple on. Or if you didn't have, you say, you know what? It's a little brown. So tell your mama, you know what I'm saying? Go ahead. You know what I'm saying? Catch me in the next couple of weeks, right? But even though it, people needed credit to grow vegetables in their yard. If you had anything over an acre, you had to go get an agriculture loan. You know what I'm saying? Because when I was younger, it was like, you know what I'm saying? It's like I thought I didn't need credit. You know what I'm saying? I had cash on hand. But whoever told me I didn't need credit lied to me, because that was the way of the world. And you actually bought into the system after that. You know what I'm saying? Like really been into the system. But now it did morph to a whole different kind of thing where it's like it feels bad when you don't get approved for a credit card for $500. It's like what did I do? So
Right.
you
They
know
make you
what
feel like
mental
your
game
hustle
said,
ain't worth shit. Right.
yeah,
Or the job you work ain't worth shit. Or the mental jewels that you have that you can give to these people ain't worth shit because you don't qualify for a $500 credit card.
there you go. You know what I'm saying? And that's you know, a college kid get a 500
Ridiculous.
book credit. You know what I'm saying, to go
You know what I'm
buy
saying?
now the electronic lessons. You know what I'm saying? We used to go to the bookstore at school, and you buy a used highlighted book. You know what I'm saying, with reference points and stuff in it. You can't get that now. So you need what's that? Cash app, or man, I had to call this day. Keith, uh, he was trying to look out for me. You know what I'm saying? And he's like, man, you don't have a, what you call that? Zuma, whatever that is. I don't even know the names of them.
Now,
You know what I'm saying?
now,
Zelle, you don't have no cash app. I'm like, a cash app? I don't even bring the phone with me at all. You know what I'm saying? Like, yeah. You know, and that is the part. So now, Frank, like you were saying, so we work our way to get all these business and stuff, right?
Right.
You know what I'm saying? You get your LLCs, you get whatever, the whoopty why. But now you got to concentrate on telling yourself that you are a credible business person.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I'm saying? And how do you have that conversation with us? But the first thing they ask you, well, how did you get started? What made you have this idea of whatever you doing? And like you said, how you going to monetize that? How you going to talk to me to drum up business? You know what I'm saying? But you would actually go in our own community and say, you know what? It's a whole lot of stuff that needs to be rebuilt this community. And you know what I'm saying? Nothing higher. And I got you. You can hire. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, but here's the thing about that though. Even in having a business in an LLC, you still need credit, or LLC, I should say. You still need credit to run said business. Like cash will only get you so far. You know what I'm saying? Especially
Yeah.
dealing with them folks. So it's like you still under that bullshit.
So
Well,
do you think, man, do you think that's
what
holding us back?
what I
You know
what
what I'm
I
saying on
think,
that part?
just to kind of address what you guys was just talking about in terms of the whole credit scenario. Um, there's different kinds of credit, and I think that what we think about all the time is the fucking FICO score credit, right? Bank credit to get
Fitness
loans and
credit.
that type of shit. But you have, especially when you're in business, the most important kind of credit that you're going to have is a line of credit from the vendors that you fuck with, that you get your shit from, right?
Right.
Whatever it
Yeah.
is that you sell. Because when you're trying to make payroll and all the various other overheads that go along with shit, the last thing that you want to be doing is paying out of your pocket for items that you can pay for later, that you can get, you know what I'm saying, through establishing a line of credit with particular vendors that you're going to continue to do business with. And then you get a variety of different, discounts and premiums and shit, for paying off early and, a variety of different shit. But what I'm saying to you is that in terms of what you were talking about to me earlier, or what you were saying in the text earlier about, farmers and the variety of different agricultural and manufacturing people kind of coming together and creating an economy that exists outside the dollar, right? I think that shit is kind of in effect, but it's still kind of tied to the dollar, right? Because
Yeah.
even when you're doing shit on credit, right? If you sell dirt, I'm buying dirt, right? And the way that we get away from having cash, doing a cash transaction and doing a credit card transaction, even if it's a debit transaction, right? Is I got a Visa shit on my card, and Visa has contracted with you to let you know that anybody that shows up with a card that says Visa, you got your dough coming immediately. We're gonna make sure of that. So it kind of guarantees the credit between you and me, right?
Mm-hmm.
So if it's any kind of fuck up or whatever, Visa don't take care of that shit, right? But Visa don't really pay my bill, right? I pay my bill, right?
Yeah.
It's credit that is extended to me just through an intermediary, right? What if we cut Visa out? What
Yeah.
if we
Right.
just cut Visa out?
Then it's exactly what that
Yeah.
is. You still paying
Exactly.
directly. That's what I'm saying. Like
Exactly. That's what I
the
was
whole
saying.
credit system is ridiculous. It's just a way to be in your mix, basically,
Yeah. Because
and make you
even
pay
if
for
they
them
make,
being in your mix.
even if you pay 25 cents, if you pay 25 cents a dollar for whatever they, uh, whatever the interest rate is, for even a transaction, right? You just figure it's millions of transactions every 30 seconds. You know what I'm saying? So forth and so on. All that adds up. Like going over the toll bridge in San Francisco. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah,
Right,
we understand that is why credit is king in America, the same way that the dollar was king, all the way up till the advent of the fucking credit card, because
yeah.
it was that it was that centralized way of doing business, right? Like, yeah, you can go trade your horse for 6 bags of motherfucking grain and a cow, right? You can
Mm-hmm.
do that. But
Right.
it's so much more convenient, right? If you could just sell your fucking horse and
Right.
go buy a fucking cow, fucking grain and shit. Well, that's what money, allowed, right? You didn't
Right.
have to worry about looking for a motherfucker that wanted to buy a horse. You know what I'm saying? And then you didn't have to worry about going to find a motherfucker that wanted to, that wanted to sell a horse. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Money kind of made all that shit happen, right?
Right.
Well, it's the same thing with credit now, right? With credit cards and shit, right? Because, like I said, or like you were saying, there was a time, even in our era, right? Like you say, the corner market. Go down to the corner market and you say, Mr. Sam, my mama said, send 2 pounds of, hog
Yeah,
hog head
ground
cheese,
beef or
whatever the
whatever.
fuck, and
Yeah,
you know what I'm saying, and 3 pounds of chicken legs. And he know he gonna get his money on Friday because he know your mama, right? You ain't gonna have no note,
Yeah.
none of that shit. He got his little ledger, you know what I'm saying? He's extending credit. But like you said, these motherfucking people, they stepped in and got in the middle of the business and said, okay, well, if you want to do credit with Mr. Sam, then you got to go through us and you got to pay a premium. 20% plus the yearly fee is more fucking
right. And
shit.
some more extra shit, bag
And,
fees, and the boxes we use
so that's
to.
when I came in. When that conversation, when I came in the middle, y'all was exactly right, right? Because we actually had stuff in our community where we governed over ourselves, right? There was like, well, everything else suffered. The other, what they used to call Frank over the Mason and Dixon line actually suffered. You know what I'm saying? Because when you look at it, those people didn't know because we were in their houses, we were in the community, we were the babysitters. You know what I'm saying? And once we start being self-sufficient, they're like, no, no. You know what I'm saying? How they got a piano in their house? How they got another Chevy? How they got good clothes that's looking, all the way gangstered out? You know what I'm saying? How they dressing up in their Sunday best? You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So how can we get to their way of living? Because they depend on us, just like Max said, that the culture, the entertainment, uh, the styles, the dances, all that still resort. So once we got over all these years that got taken away from us on being self-sufficient, or how you said it the other day, Matt, that it takes a village. When we had a village, they came to rape, pillage, and plunder our village. You know what I'm saying? Even to this day, if we had a gated community, right, and we said this is what we're gonna do, everybody's it's music over there. It's everybody coming in. You on the guest list. You being invited to the cookout. Somebody gonna come up and say, "Hey, where are you going? What is your destination?" Go see the police. You know what I'm saying? Before the gate closed, they follow you in there. It's like, what's going on over here? Let me see why they are prospering. You know what I'm saying? And that's the one part that we have to get away from because we know we should sit on a park bench or in the parking lot, right? And talk and get gainful lessons in life, period, amongst us. Get a little bit from Matt, get a little bit from you, because we have life experience. But if we all bring them together, we built a foundation that everybody soon is going to come around. If we don't care about the day's functions or he drank too much or he smoked too much, this is like, yeah, they're talking some reasonable self-education, self-taught, because we are self-made. And with the power of the universe and God, that we can figure things out because we have common sense. Now, you're not gonna walk away, Frank. I'm gonna say, "Hey, Frank, you remember what we was talking about yesterday? You texted me on the phone till you get in the car till you all the way home. And you was just here talking."
Right.
You see what I'm saying?
Right.
So, where do we start? As far as that, and like you said, the cryptocurrency. Do people realize that's a life investment? That's money that's gonna sit there because you take it out today and it could go up 500 times tomorrow, but you needed that $200.
Well, the thing
You know what
about it,
I'm saying?
right? This is kind of where I was going with it. Yeah, Junebug, this is live. You want to come in? I'll send you the link. Go ahead, Frank. Let me send my
All
cousin
right.
Junebug the link.
So, I, first of all, I believe that it's ridiculous that they deny us because we can't get away from their taxes. So if you give us money, we got to give you money back.
Oh yeah.
It's like just inevitable. So why are y'all so scared to give us something? You can't give us nothing and not get nothing back. And if you do, it's the very few that you'll get it back from. For those who are really looking to prosper and flourish and thrive, you'll get that back. You're gonna get that back anyway. We can't avoid that. Not live in America, we can't, unless we could, but who's trying to go through all that when we can just be harmonious, man, and let the whole nation thrive? Because we go pay our taxes too. You know,
Junebug,
but
check
along with that
check your DM,
also comes with the
Junebug.
relinquishment of political power, because those who have that type of money can push that influence, and I think that's what they're scared of.
Yeah, and you're absolutely right, because the scared of is actually realizing not taking the power back, but actually what we was designed for. You know what I'm saying? Because people get misdirected about what we designed for, because you can get to that point right at the crest of it, right? And it's like, okay, well, he's making a difference. Now we got 2-3 days against us, right? We got ourselves in our mind, because we walk in the door and get rejected. But how Max said, I got to crack 10 times to get, two things on my plate. You know what I'm saying? And then where do we go from there? Oh, what's going
Brother
on, little
Doug,
brother?
what's going on,
What's
man?
going on?
Welcome to the pond.
That's Nick's little brother, Frank.
Oh, hey.
My cousin Junebug. What's up, Johnny?
What's going on?
Oh yeah, you ain't clear. You ain't clear. How you doing, man? Good to see you. I ain't seen you in a minute.
Likewise, man. It's been years, man, but things are good. How are things with you?
Oh man, I'm trying to make it, you know. I'm
I hear
here, so I can't complain. We are talking right now about our people kind of being left out or being on the tail end of modern technology, modern economic movements, everything that has to do with the growth of people as people in general. We specifically as a community seem to be left out. Like we were talking about Bitcoin and NFTs and the variety of different things that we kind of be on the back end of, PPP loans, EIDL loans, everything. So what's your take on things?
Well, my take on cryptocurrencies is I'm somebody who's pretty well versed in it. I'm actually an investor myself. One thing that I would say about cryptocurrencies is it's the way of the future.
Right.
A lot of cryptocurrencies aim is to kind of do what's called banking the unbanked. So that's people in other countries that need microloans, micropayments, anything having to do with small amounts of money that don't have the ability to go into a bank branch like you or me.
Okay.
So cryptocurrencies play a huge role in that. But from the investment side of things, right, you have a lot of opportunities for people that don't necessarily know that's happening behind the scenes, as far as there being an ability for them to kind of get in on the ground floor and invest in things before they get expensive or before they hit the mainstream. I've been in the space for a little bit. Right now, they're at a little over $2 trillion market cap. I've been in it since it was around 300 billion. So nascent, and now it's starting to, you got IPOs happening with the CoinBase.
With the CoinBase thing.
That's what IPO I heard about.
Correct. That happened this week, and that's kind of a monumental moment, because really what's happening is you're taking a private market and putting it into the mainstream, right? So once you get Wall Street and stuff like that involved, that's when big money comes into it. So when I was saying, there was only 300 billion into it, now you're getting people who have millions and millions of dollars to spend on crypto, as opposed to it being just me or you or the people who have exposure to it and know what's really going on. So it's something that's going to change the world. Is what I really try to express to people. It's the future, but you have to wrap your mind around change and how it can benefit you before you really see any real movement.
Can I ask you a question? Excuse me, bro. How did you find this space? How did you get into Bitcoin? Who introduced you to it? And where'd you hear from?
So the funny story is, I think it might have been back in like 2009. There was a story that came out where some guy from somewhere bought Domino's Pizza with Bitcoin. It was the first real transaction that ever happened with Bitcoin. I was always fascinated by it, because I said, this was only worth, so many cents. And at the time, the height was maybe $17,000. I said, well, damn, if you would have invested $10,000 at $17,000, it would have been millions and millions of dollars, right?
Mm-hmm.
Fast forward to July of last year, I got laid off my job. I had a couple things that, as far as investments, that came back to me. where I was able to have some cash flow to do something. And the first thing I looked at was the stock market. If you know anything about what's going on with the stock market, you know that right now everything is super overvalued.
Right.
So everything's at an all-time high. If you invest in it, you need it to double before you see any real return, right? So I started looking in other places. I thought back to that Domino's pizza story, and I started to realize that there was a lot of cryptocurrencies that were more than just Bitcoin, but they were actually things that were solving problems. And there were actually cryptocurrencies that had relationships and ties to things that were in the real world that were actually behind the scenes that were actually being worked out in order to create a use case for something on a grand scale. So that's when I really started to turn into somebody who was just interested and just somebody who is I would call myself a large investor into cryptocurrency.
So I first got introduced to Bitcoin kind of on a fluke, and I don't have any invest. I have a wallet. I don't have no coin in it, right? But I first got interested kind of on a fluke. I read a story about I can't even pronounce the name. I think, what is the name of the first guy?
Satoshi Nakamoto.
Satoshi Nakamura. So I read the whole mythology of him and who he was supposed to be. And I think at that time he was really unknown. Everybody was thinking this was a group of people. And I was like, okay, well, what is this? And what is the blockchain? Right. And I think that the whole philosophy of blockchain technology is what kind of caught my attention, as opposed to Bitcoin as a particular investment. Now, when Bitcoin started kind of taking off, and I was understanding that it had applications, in the dark world, in the dark net, and shit like that, then I was like, okay, well, this is just another viable currency, right, outside of the dollar. But you have every country has a different currency that is different than the dollar, and it's valuated in comparison to the dollar as well, right? Like, it's openly tradable, right? You could go right to the currency change and get dollars for pesos or whatever the hell it is. Right. And so I was looking at the viability of Bitcoin, just Bitcoin, because I knew nothing about any of the other tokens, just Bitcoin. And looking at the viability of it as an actual currency, and whether or not it would ever kind of leak over into the mainstream. And I've always thought that was why you keep seeing these enormous jumps in the value, of one Bitcoin. But my question now is, how with the advent of so many different types of currencies, right? How viable are the various different currencies in terms of replacing the dollar for the average citizen, being able to go in and boom, hit your phone or whatever on the little thing and spend whatever Ethereums or however they break it down.
Yeah.
So I got one more thing to add to that, right? So when we get to when this act hitting the news, are we too far out of place because it gains so much money that we are not able to invest at the height, because they're talking about it's worth $10,000 or $5,000 or a coin or whatever that, it's all strange to me, because all that time I was bringing money in the house, boy, and you come on your bed, you say I'm gonna take $2,000 and put it in Bitcoin. Oh yeah, we got a trader. All right, go ahead.
Keith, what I'll say to answer your question is, it's all about adoption, right? It's all about partnerships, and a lot of it's going to come down to regulation. So you're asking, out of the 9,000 cryptos that are available today, how many of those are going to survive? A lot of them are going to die through regulation, right? So one of the biggest cryptocurrency holdings that I have is in a company called Ripple. They're a fintech company that's out of San Francisco that has a lot of ties with central banks, governments, kind of institutions that have the ability to actually move price. as opposed to, me and you, spending whatever we can to try to move the price.
Right.
They're going through the first lawsuit right now with the SEC in terms of, what they're going to be labeled as. Is it going to be a security, which a security is basically a investment contract saying if you buy this, then you own a share, or you own the ability to get profit off of the revenue that we generate based off of our work? Or is it going to be a currency, right? Or it could be a token. But to answer your question, a lot of the cryptocurrencies that are available right now are going to die because, first of all, they don't have a use case. Second of all, a lot of them are going to be scams in the marketplace, right? It's a money grab, it's speculation. Right. How are you investing in this? It's the idea that something could come out of it, not necessarily the utility, but what could happen if I put $100 here, and there's 10,000 people that are just like that lining up to throw $100 at it. That's what brings up the value.
Right.
So that's what I think really happens is the SEC, a lot of these government bodies and stuff like that are going to be able to regulate through whatever enforcement they choose to those cryptocurrencies out of existence.
And in terms of the big ones, do you think that to make a comparison to the advent of the credit card would be applicable in terms of how to look at things? Like I was telling Nick that there was a time in my life when, credit cards were readily available to the vast majority of the general public, and our community wasn't really fucking with them. It wasn't money. It wasn't something that we trusted in. But what it turned into is, the biggest currency that we have going in America right now.
Yeah, and you kind of have to look at it. You have to look at it as, why was that adopted, right? Credit cards and stuff like that weren't adopted because, first of all, people didn't really understand what the benefits were. Now, if you look at credit cards anywhere, it's, what are we giving you? It's points. It's, the ability to pay later. There's a lot of reasons why people use that as opposed to cash. What's happening right now is pretty much going to be the same thing from cash to credit card, from credit card to the new way of money.
Right.
So if you really think about society right now, since March of last year, what have you heard about money? It's dirty, right? You started going to a cashless society. There was a change shortage that happened in March. You can go find change in the bottom of a well if you really chose to, or go look in, like I say,
or they can just simply make more.
Right. Nobody's really thinking about that stuff. Nobody's thinking about the quantitative easing that's happened over the last year, and that's printing basically 33% of all currency in existence in the last 12 months, right? Eventually, you have to do something to change that. And that's where I really think that cryptocurrencies come into play. They're going to be adopted because they're going to be,
I was going to say, do you think they're going to be adopted by governments?
Oh, 100%.
Yeah,
that's me.
That's my thing. Well, how does that necessarily change anything? It's just going to be the new dollar, and which they will still have action at keeping away from us if we don't know and or cannot, because we behind the ball so far, get into it.
I think that's where blockchain technology comes in.
Yeah, but I don't think that your dollars are necessarily going to be something that are phased out completely. It can't. But what I do think is say, for instance, you go to take dollars and they adopt what's called the US dollar coin, right? Your dollar would then be a dollar, but it would be in a digital form. You put your money in the bank, or you get a check right now. It's still a digital form of money until you actually get it out in a hard form. So really, it's wrapping your mind around a different type of plumbing, essentially.
Well, I really think that the government's going to be the mining people. You know what I'm saying? Everything going to have to run through this. So they're going to snatch the little bit that they can. Everybody working at warp speed, whether it's losing. I think, Mac, you told me a long time ago, like, even looking at the stock stuff, right? That you was like, what are you going to invest in penny stocks, or are you going to invest in some stocks, or are you going to play a hard market? You know what I'm saying? When you see some of those pie charts, like even we were talking about conducted businesses, you know what I'm saying? Where we was going to actually fit in that motion. So would you think that it's gonna be a rush to misunderstanding this, Junior. You know what I'm saying, for all of us, because like you own the money with all this stuff, right? And are people actually gonna, you know what I'm saying, take heed to actually wrapping their mind around this whole new thing? Or do you
You
think they're
know,
gonna have to be forced to?
I think the thing that people are missing the most is that your stimulus, right? It's basically the new form of I would almost call it universal basic income, right? If I tell
Mm.
you that I'm going to give you a certain amount of money, right? And all you have to do is use this new application to be able to spend it. It's already happening in China, right? The digital yuan is a real thing that's going on right now. So if the United States government told you that I'm going to give you $600, you can spend it on whatever you want. The only thing is that you have to use QR codes or digital swipe of whatever that they
Whatever.
use, which is Fed now, to actually spend the money. Who's not going to spend it, right?
Right.
That's the way
Yeah,
that you create adoption is by a
Force.
program that forces you into it. It's
Mm-hmm.
the free lunch is never free.
Well,
It's going to
e-
happen.
even from that standpoint, to make it even more real for the listeners, um, just think about how much Bank of America profited just through the pandemic, just with the contract with the state of California. All payments that weren't a check came through Bank of America. Every card. There was
wow.
no option to send it straight to your bank. None of that. You got a Bank of America card coming, partner. Period.
Mm.
So what was you gonna do? Not accept it?
Right. Right.
Shit. Accept that
Right.
shit and swipe
Hey,
everywhere.
Right. And that's what I'm saying. Once the regulations get tagged in, it really ain't no hope for like individual. I mean, we back in the same cycle. Okay. At
yeah,
the end of the day, it still don't benefit us like that. You know what I'm saying? Not just the rich of us, but even the poorest of us. You know what I'm saying?
yeah.
It's the same shit.
It
It's
you
gonna
know
be
what I'm saying?
hard to
It
get
just
a
like you.
Bitcoin like it's hard to get a dollar.
So the bottom line, the answer to the question of the day in terms of various types of upcoming currencies that are already in place, and things other than the dollar that are utilized just for spending. Um, it does seem as though we as a community, again, are bringing up the tail end. And luckily, we have people like my young cousin here who is very, very versed and willing to come on and spread some of that information to the community. This is the shit that we was talking about when we first started, Frank.
Right.
Yeah.
And I believe education is the key. But I also want to ask you of if you know of any, or if there are any like courses, classes, or just everybody got to fend for themselves and just Google it. Like, are other people out there trying to give the information to the people?
There are
A
classes and
book.
stuff that you can take, but a lot of the stuff that I've learned is by going on forums, figuring out who's a trustworthy source for any kind of information. I only follow 3 people on YouTube. So one of which is his name is Moonlando. He basically gives you stories from all kinds of angles about what's going on in the background, stuff that you wouldn't necessarily know about. And it's in small enough chunks where it's still absorbable without it being overwhelming, if that makes sense.
Right. Yeah.
Uh,
Perfect.
the next person that I listen to, his name is the Digital Asset Investor. He's another good person, another good resource that I use. And then the last one is the Bearable Bull. So all of those guys are have great information. Twitter is another good place to find information. A lot of the CEOs and companies and stuff like that will have Twitter feeds where they'll push out information and breaking news and things like that that you can learn from. And again, it's something that's digestible. That's not going to be like over your head. You can read it and kind of take it
Understand it.
in,
Right.
research more if you choose to.
That's what I'm talking about. Well, what I'll
Yeah,
do is
I gotta.
I'll have you can just send me the links to all three of those YouTube channels, and I'll post them down in the description on the YouTube page after we finish the broadcast. What was you gonna say, Nick? I'm gonna let you go ahead on the closing out because we over again.
Oh, always. So the thing is, thank you, little brother, for you know what I'm saying, bringing your perspective as a young man that's growing and have his family and getting his business started. And that just, and I want to tell you, that shows the results of all of us, you know what I'm saying, together, because you was that little dude, you know what I'm saying, that actually absorbed it all. So, yeah, hell yeah. I'm happy to get the information from you. I'm happy that you chimed in and we're doing something positive for the community. You know what I'm saying?
Proud
Like
of
you
you,
said, we
Jim
jumped up,
Bud.
you know, so jump that front was running because you didn't crawl, you was running. You know
Too.
what I'm saying? So, you know what I'm saying? So, all right, y'all.
All right, you guys. I want to thank everybody for tuning in. Again, I want to thank all the piranhas in the pond, including my young piranha, Mr. Young Dub. Jumping in. You're welcome to come and jump in anytime. We live at 5, Monday through Friday. We talk about a variety of different things. And everybody on YouTube, Facebook Live, like, share, subscribe. Click the notification bell if you're already subscribed. And we will see you guys Monday. We were live at 5, and now we are